What it is, what it do, cyber world. Welcome to the Ash Said It show. I am your host, Ash Brown. I appreciate all of the love and support. You guys have been so great to me. Over 1,800 episodes, 500,000 streams, 100,000 downloads. Wow, that's a mouthful. That's a lot going on there. And I just appreciate you guys so much for being on this journey with me. And yes, we are well into 2022. It's the first week of 2022, and I've got an amazing author today, the wonderful Karen Hinton. Hi, Karen.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I am great. How are you today?
I am looking forward to talking to you and answering your questions and letting your viewers hear all about my new book.
Yes. So we're going to just jump into it, Karen. Penis politics. So how did we come about with that name, Karen?
Well, as the book subtitle says, Penis Politics is a memoir about women, men, and power. And some people may find the title shocking, but penis politics is about misconduct that is much more shocking than the official name of a body part, right?
Right.
The book is really about discrimination, harassment, abuse, and misogyny that I've experienced, but more importantly, that other women I've known throughout my life have experienced. And I want women to hear my story and their story because I believe they will relate to some of the same situations and perhaps can find some strength and interest in what the book has to say.
You suffered an injury, which actually led to the writing of this book. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I had an injury in 2017, a traumatic brain injury, after I was in the gym working out on a treadmill, and I fell backwards and hit my head on a very hard concrete floor.
Oh, goodness.
So 2 words of wisdom, or 2 points of wisdom. 1, don't get on a treadmill. And 2, make sure your gym has mats on the floor underneath all of their exercise machines in case you fall or in case something happens to you, a stroke, a heart attack, and you fall to the floor. And so that was 2 things that I learned from that injury. The other issue that I came to grips with was, how do you recover from an injury that was very close to death for me?
Yeah. And
I had to figure all that out. And one way that I was able to recover somewhat, not completely, is by just trying to remember things that had happened to me in the past and beginning to read and write again, because I had lost the ability to stay focused and I was not writing as well. I wasn't capturing my thoughts. But when I found an old set of diaries back from high school, I read those diaries during the time of my recovery, and it just brought back a lot of memories. And I became really interested in thinking about how young girls and women deal with the issues of sexual harassment, discrimination, abuse, not only in the workplace, but in school, in college, in life itself.
Yeah.
And that's what brought me to this topic, was the injury. And I will say this, if I had not had the injury, I don't think I would have found the time to write the book. But during the recovery, I had plenty of time to improve my situation as it existed after the accident. And then I just decided to finish it with a book.
A lot of the stories in the book are funny, and some are a little bit more difficult to talk about and to unveil. So for you, what was the favorite story that you wanted to share with people?
My most favorite story is when I'm playing basketball in high school, because that was a time when I really became more self-confident and believed in myself. And I do believe that sports does that for women who are interested in sports.
Right.
But anything that really motivates you to compete and to improve your ability and think about how you can succeed at a young age is so important.
I definitely agree
but
with that.
That was the time when I was a bit in confrontation with my coach about what plays we should set and not set. And I came up with the run and gun play. And I was going to just take the ball down the court and figure out who to pass it to as quickly as possible. So either I would shoot or they would shoot. And my coach just wanted to do pick plays. He just wanted to set a pick and shoot the ball. So there's a series of events in the book that talks about this conflict between myself and the coach. And that is another dynamic that women in sports sometimes face, is when they don't agree with the behavior of a coach. And so that was, in many ways, that story was telling about the most difficult story to write about. But I'll let you set the scene for that.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about, you were one of the women that accused Andrew Cuomo of sexual harassment. What motivated you to speak up?
Two reasons. One reason has to do with what happened in high school. A school official raped one of my very best friends when she was 16. I was 16. In the school book room one summer when she was working for the school. Along with her and three other girls, myself and Maggie and Libby, who are key characters in the book, she tells us, please don't, I needed to tell you because you're my best friend, and I needed to talk about it, but please don't tell me. Today, I sometimes wonder, should we have spoken up and told someone then? Because her life didn't turn out, I think, the way at least I remember her thinking about her life turning out, which was she was going to go to college, she would get a job. But after this rape occurred, she quit high school, married early, and left him after a year. And then things started being really tough for her to move to the next point of her life. And I'll leave that for the book, for anyone who wants to read the book.
Yeah.
But that's when I knew, when I was remembering about that happening, I knew then, long before, after the accident, but before the stories about Andrew Cuomo came out, that's when I knew then you have to talk about these traumas in your life. And you, of course, have to decide who to talk to them about. But it is important to speak up about them to help yourself as well as to protect other women who may be feeling the same trauma. And that's why I decided to speak up about Andrew Cuomo when Charlotte Bennett, one of the women who had a story to tell about the former governor of New York, I heard her on CBS News, and I knew from listening to her story how similar it was to stories that I knew about, and also that decision that she made to speak up.
Right.
And I went, you're right, Charlotte. You're right to speak up. And she did the right thing. And sometimes as women, we don't do that. We want to keep it from others.
Right.
Because we think it'll be traumatic for ourselves. We'll lose a job or whatever. So that's sort of tying Mississippi to New York in that way.
How important is it for you to have those female friends?
It's essential. I don't know that at the time I told myself I need to have women friends.
Right.
I just was fortunate enough to have some really great, terrific friends who I still stay in touch with now, from my political days in Mississippi to the time I moved to Washington and worked on Capitol Hill, to the time then I moved to New York. And I worked for a year for the mayor of New York City. I made just tremendous women friends then. And it's always so important to keep your women friends close. I think without them, it's much harder to survive. Men need women, at least I think, much more than they need male friends. Women need each other, whether we think so or not.
Definitely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's just, and a lot of times too, when you're a small business owner like myself, it's helpful to have other female small business owners. That way you can bounce ideas off of each other. You can motivate each other. There's a good support system there.
Yes, definitely. My truth from the past, talking about it,
right,
helps strengthen the truth in the present for other women. So you have to be willing to tell your story. And I hope women who read my book will think, I need to tell my story too.
Right.
And find someone they can talk to about it or write their own book.
Yeah. Karen, what is next for you? You've written this book. I know that there's a lot of things coming into this new year. What's next?
What's next? That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer. Since my brain accident, I call it my brain accident.
Yeah, because it was.
I haven't been able to really hold a full-time regular job.
Okay.
And I'm lucky that I have a wonderful husband who helps take care of me. So I've thought about finding a job and going back to work, but I'm not quite to do that. I don't know that I have the sort of stability to do that yet. While writing has been really solid for me because, I don't have to talk to anybody else when I'm writing it. I can always just erase everything and start all over again. And you don't get to do that sometimes when you have a regular job. You can't just say, "Oops, let's back up and start over again."
Right.
So I think I'll keep writing, and I'm not exactly sure what I'll write again, but I think that's the way I will keep recovering.
Yeah.
And even if you haven't had a bad accident, that's another way to really heal your soul when it needs healing, is to write down your thoughts and your feelings, or even talk into a recording and listen to it again. I just think that verbalizing it as well as writing it is the way to strengthen your inner soul.
I love it. Karen Hinton, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you for having me, and I enjoyed talking about this. And anyone who's interested in my book can go on Amazon, put in Penis Politics, and it will pop up, and you can get it there.
I love it. And Karen, are you also on social media? We got a lot of people that love to follow folks.
Yes, I am. I'm on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. So any of you listening can find me there and send me a note. I'm happy to hear from any listener.
I love it. Karen, much more success into 2022 as we are here. Wonderful January. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do. You look them square in the face, you tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for. They're history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.